you don't know the difference. And so you can't make a true choice between them as long as you continue to rely upon the orphan mentality that you have nurtured and built and continue to strive to establish as real in its own right. It doesn't mean you're lost because you can't tell the difference. It simply means that you have to be willing to accept the idea that what I'm telling you is true, and that there is indeed a different way of experiencing everything than the way you're experiencing it. And then drum up enough curiosity, enough genuine curiosity, to explore what it might really be by inviting in a perspective greater than the one you're currently employing. Continuing, when you want only love, you will see nothing else. Now, that is not something that the orphan mentality is capable of. It sees love as skillfully manipulating your brother to get him to do what builds you up, and hopefully doing it in such a skillful way that he doesn't realize you've taken advantage of him and demeaned him in the process. That's what the orphan mentality designates. That is what the orphan mentality practices, calling it love. When you want only love, you will see nothing else. But I'm telling you that you won't want only love until you have arrived at a point where you're willing to abandon the artificial boundary that you have placed around your mind, saying, this little part of the infinitude of me is all there is of me. You won't abandon what blocks you from the experience of love until you're willing to reach out beyond your current mental state and invite something greater than you in. However, when you do that, when that is what you want, that is what you will have. And the messengers will come back to you confirming what love is and confirming your capacity to feel it and to know that you are feeling it because you are included in something bigger than just tiny little authoritative you. And when you feel it, you can't help but extend it to your brother and sister. How? Not in beautiful words, but in actual involvement. When you want only love, you will see nothing else. The contradictory nature of the witnesses you perceive is merely the reflection of your conflicting invitations. You have looked upon your minds and accepted opposition there, conflict, polarization. And you say, conflict's normal. Polarization, oh, the universe runs on polarity. you see. You have looked upon your minds and accepted opposition there, having sought it there. You say, I didn't think a thing about it. I just looked out at the world, and it's a mess. It's totally polarized. It's totally threatening. But you've forgotten that something comes before what you see. And because you have forgotten that something comes before what you see, you end up bouncing around off of all of the high points of conflict that your world presents to you, like a ball in a pinball machine. And what do you do to solve the problem of being bounced around? Why, you learn to apply a little torque to the roll of the ball that you are, so that you can get down to the bottom end of the machine without bouncing off of high points of conflict. Or you learn to say, oh, I'm going to learn how to stay in my peace while I'm being bounced around. Peace is the nature of my being, I'm told. And so I must be able to experience bliss no matter how many times I'm being bounced off high points of conflict. No, you don't learn how to skillfully not suffer while you're still being bounced around by the high points of conflict. You do it by remembering that there is something that comes before you're looking out at the world and seeing conflict. It is a choice you are making. You have forgotten you made the choice, and you need to be reminded that you have made a choice. Why? So that you can feel guilty? No. So that you might recognize the power you have that you're already employing negatively, the power you have to do something different, to send out different messengers, to want something different. You have looked upon your minds and accepted opposition there, having sought it there. But do not then believe that the witnesses for opposition are true, for they attest only to your decision about reality, returning to you the message you gave them. Love is recognized by its messengers. If you make love manifest, because what love really is what you want, and you demonstrate that love is what you really want by becoming undefended against your brother and sister, its messengers will come to you because you invited them. Because you invited them. You always get what you want. And so the key is to start wanting something different from what you have been wanting, either consciously or unconsciously. If wanting to be a better and better independent authority, a more and more successful orphan, then you are going to get what comes along with it. You are going to get what is embedded in the very concept of being alone. And your world will reflect back to you that you are alone, and indeed you are as vulnerable as you believe you are. But all you need to do is ask yourself, do I really want to pursue this course that I have been committed to demonstrate that I am a valid orphan, that not having a father and a mother, not having a source, does not mean I'm invalid? Do I want to remain committed to that course, knowing, as I'm now told, that it is what results in my interminable experience of polarities in my environment that I must constantly be on guard against, that for survival I must be able to be afraid of? Do I want to remain committed to this course, as respectable a course as I believe it is, when I don't like the results? Or shall I set a new course? Shall I abandon the orphan mentality? Shall I let in a perspective greater than mine, which at the bottom line you all know there is, because you know you didn't create all of this universe and all of creation? Shall I let that in? Shall I let my boundary become permeable? Shall I become actually undefended, even though all of my conditioning says it will make me vulnerable to the worst? Shall I dare to find a way to be fully present with my brother, not based upon my best judgments about his character and his personality and what kind of person he really is? Shall I be undefended against a better perception of him? Shall I dare to be undefended and let in what God is being right there? So you have to ask yourself these questions, because whichever one you want, you will get. And aren't you tired of what you've been getting? A new choice is called for. The power of decision is your one remaining freedom as a prisoner of this world. You can decide to see it right. What you made of it is not its reality. For its reality to you at this moment, from the orphan mentality, is only what you gave it. You cannot really give anything but love to anyone or anything. Your brother or sister, the daffodil or the slug. You cannot really give anything but love to anyone or anything, nor can you really receive anything else from them. Why? Because of what they really are, and what they always have been, in spite of your misperception of them. If you think you have received anything else, it is because you have looked within and thought you saw the power, where? In you, to give something else. But Father, I'd rather see it my way. But Father, I would rather say what a thing is. But Father, I'd rather be fatherless. If you think you have received anything else, It is because you have looked within and thought you saw the power to give something else within yourself. It was only this decision that determined what you found out there. For it was the decision of what you sought. But Father, I'd rather see it my way. That was what you wanted. And that is what you have at the moment. And your world, as you're experiencing it, is the result of that choice. It will change in a twinkling of an eye when you change what you want. But the tough part of it is that you'll have to give up everything that you've been taking pride in. And you have been taking pride in more and more clearly demonstrating the validity of your existence without a source. Made up entirely by you. You are afraid of me because you looked within and are afraid of what you saw. Yet you could not have seen reality, for the reality of your mind is the loveliest of God's creations. Coming only from God, its power and grandeur could only bring you peace if you really looked upon it. If you are afraid, it is because you saw something that is not there. You see, as an orphan without a parent, there's really nothing there. And as long as you insist that you are an orphan, just the effect of a sperm and an egg joining, a physical process, you have no reason to see anything beautiful there. You have no capacity to see anything beautiful there. Because creation is not what backs up your existence for you. And so you look blindly. And what you see is your blindness. I'm going to read this again. You are afraid of me because you looked within and are afraid of what you saw. Yet you could not have seen reality. For the reality of your mind is the loveliest of God's creations, of your Father's presencing of Himself, which you can't see as long as you've disowned your Father. Coming only from God, its power and grandeur, its present power and grandeur, because your blindness to what it is hasn't caused what it really is to go away. Coming only from God, its power and grandeur could only bring you peace if you really looked upon it. If you are afraid, it is because you saw something that is not there. You think you see polarity because you think you have a personal, private capacity to see polarity. Yet in that same place, you could have looked upon me and all your brothers in the perfect safety of the mind which created us. For we are there in the peace of the Father, who wills to project His peace through you. when you have accepted your mission to project peace, you will find it. For by making it manifest, you will see it. Its holy witnesses will surround you because you called upon them, and they will come to you. I have heard your call, and I have answered it. But you will not look upon me, nor hear the answer which you sought. That is because you do not yet want only that. Yet, as I become more real to you, you will learn that you do want only that. And you will see me as you look within. And we will look upon the world as God created it together. Through the eyes of Christ, that which I am and that which you are. The real world, through the eyes of Christ only, the real world exists and can be seen. As you decide, so will you see. And all that you see but witnesses to what? Your decision. I'm going to come back to this simple point. That your brother is your Savior. Your brother is your Savior. The daffodil and the slug could be your Savior. But life doesn't invite you to be involved with slugs and daffodils quite as overtly as it calls upon you to relate to your brothers and sisters. Your brothers and sisters need peace. Your brothers and sisters need not to be afraid. Your brothers and sisters need not to be suffering. And you know what? Your brothers and sisters need not to have to present a good face to the world in order to be embraced. You need not to be afraid, and you need not to be suffering. You need sin, sickness, and death to be rendered unreal, dissolved from the experience of being, because they are not valid parts of being. You are here to be brothers and sisters, not using each other to build yourselves up independently, but to communicate the embrace of love that wipes out the sense of threat, that doesn't confirm threat, that your brother or sister has sent messengers out to retrieve news about. Your brothers and sisters are your saviors because they give you the opportunity to be the Christ. They give you the opportunity. They actually present a demand upon you to be what you really are, what you truly are. They demand of you involvement. They demand of you that you care enough to be present with them in their delusions, in their misunderstandings, in their misapprehensions, so that you might, without platitudes and boilerplate, recognize the crux of their misunderstanding, so that you might be in a position to illustrate it, so that it can be seen for the nonsense that it is, and so that that brother can abandon it. It means having pitiful patience with your brother or your sister and standing with them, whether it's for a long time or for a short time, until the love that you are expressing registers with them enough to allow them to abandon the infrastructure of their attempts to be a successful and valid independent authority. It doesn't mean standing at a distance, knowing the truth about them. Do you see me standing at a distance, knowing the truth about you? The way you see me be with you in this fashion is the way I am with each of you within yourselves when you reach out to me there. And I'm being facetious here, but talk about pitiful patience. I've been with you for 2,000 years. It is my joy to be here with you. It is my joy not to engage in self-righteousness and wonder if it's all worth it, because you are so stuck in the love of your current reasonings that you don't let go. I witness for you. I will witness for you forever. And you know what? When you wake up, I will still witness for you forever. Because it's my function to see the glory of God right there where you are. When you wake up, it isn't as though a job I had will be over. It's just that we will join together in the activity. And you will be happy because you are no longer suffering. Your willingness to be present with and for your brother. Wishing to see, wanting to see the presence of God there, will inevitably cause the messengers to come back to you confirming what you want to see. Not because it will make you great, but because you've performed your function of wanting to glorify God, not yourself. And glorify it right there where your brother is.